Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're looking at my newest custom, which is Strider HIRYU from Marvel vs. Capcom, and maybe if he had his own game before, I don't know, but I know he's got a game coming out soon, so he's from that game as well, of course. Really cool character. He's a ninja of sorts. I don't know the details on the character, to be honest, but I like the character design and he was cool in the game, so I was happy to take this custom. My customer said he wanted the best Strider HIRYU custom that has ever been made, and this is what I came up with. I think he'll be pleased. I hope so, at least. It's a tall order, but I think I accomplished it. I hope. We'll see. You guys let me know what you think, but really it only matters what he thinks. So I'll let you guys know what he says about that if I find out anytime soon. Anyway, let's talk about the figure. It's This thing took me a ton more work than I anticipated, but I think it paid off. Most people use a Soda Street Fighter Ibuki lower body and Fei Long upper body for this guy, and I kind of did the same thing. The legs are Ibuki and the arms are Fei Long, but that's pretty much all I did. I didn't like the hip joints on either of the figures, so I took a Marvel Legends Gambit because he had kind of small hips in the first place, and I sanded down his thighs so he was kind of like an amputee victim. And then I hollowed out Ibuki's thighs and resculpted the outside and slid those over so that I used her legs still, but his hip joints and his crotch, which I sanded down, and put that inside a hollowed out Fei Long crotch so that I could use his joints and then just resculpt over everything. And then for the hips, I actually sculpted the caps. That's what I call it anyway. I made it so that the pants go up over the ball joint and it's hollowed out inside so that can tuck in there. And so you still get all the articulation, but it's not quite as, it doesn't look just like a giant ball. You see that tucks in up there, it just keeps going. And so it kind of hides the ball joint a little bit. It helps the flow of the figure just a little bit. It's not something I normally do, but I thought on this guy it was beneficial with the baggy pants. And it worked out okay, so I was happy with that. So I resculpted the upper thighs, sculpted the crotch completely. We can pick this belt up a little bit so you can see just some wrinkles in there from being tucked in underneath this red wrap around here. And then of course the upper body was completely resculpted as well. Fei Long's chest is in there somewhere, but I sanded it down so I had more room to work. And then I just sculpted the wrinkled cloth as if it was tucked in and wrapped around. Then I sculpted these straps that go around, the little pads on the shoulders, and then the part of the ninja outfit. I don't know if that's a gi or what, but you know, the little shoulder pieces, sculpted that. And the straps go all the way around to the back, and then there's the one that goes across, and that has a magnet in it for the accessory, so that's always handy. And then the straps that go around the arms, actually, I need them to look like they were part of these straps, but they had to be posable and a soft material so that he could still pose the arms. So those are made out of neoprene, and then they actually have a swivel where they connect underneath the buckle, which I sculpted, and the swivel is accomplished by using a finishing nail. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but I put a finishing nail in there in each one, so that creates a pivot for the shoulder strap. And so it maintains all of its articulation and still looks good, form and function. And that's what the customer wanted. He wanted as much articulation as possible. And then so for the feet, I didn't want to use Ibuki's because she has not the right kind of feet. She has nice wraps down here, but the feet were no good, so I had to replace the feet. I took some Marvel Legends Angel feet and sanded those down and resculpted them to have the ninja slippers and the wraps on there. So that was that for the feet. Still maintains all of the articulation you want. I added a little bit of an ankle rocker in there, so that increases the posability, which the customer was pretty keen on. The arms are Fei Long. I just added the wraps to the arms with some sculpt. The head, I actually made another head for this guy. I don't know what I was thinking. The base figure I used to sculpt over was too small. I sculpted it anyway. I don't know what happened there. It ended up being too small. Big surprise. So I had to scrap that. I don't know. I might throw it up on eBay or something. It just didn't fit the figure. So I made a new head, and this is the head. It's everything except for the eyes and ears is sculpted. So the little sash part on the face is sculpted. The hair is sculpted. I painted the face mask just because using the cloth, the scarf over the face, it just wasn't practical in terms of posability and looking good. So sculpted that over there and just matched the paint as best I could. But this stuff depending on the light that hits it, it takes on a different look. So in person it looks pretty good, but I don't know if you can tell in camera if it blends or not, I don't know. But this is like a polyester silk fake thing going on, so I don't know. It's you know, it's hard to match two different materials, but in person it looks good, I promise. And hopefully it looks good. Looks good for you. But what I did, and I can't really show you this other than through the head, but since the scarf is soft down here, I was able to make the neck posable. So the head itself, this is the neck moving. So you can move the neck around in there, and then the head you can move on top even more. So you get as much range of motion as you want out of the head. And since he said he was going to be posing a lot, I thought that was pretty important. So that's a Figma neck actually. I made a ball socket in the neck or in the torso for the neck to go down into. So that's what this is here. It's just a ball socket, a ball peg, and the neck goes up, and that's a peg that goes into the neck. So the head swivels on that, and there's a hinge in there to let it look up and down. So any posing you want to do, you can do. Each hair piece was sculpted individually to give it the right look. He wanted it to be mostly Marvel vs. Capcom styling, so that's what I based it on. And you'll never believe me if I told you what head I used for the eyes and the eyebrows, because he's not a ninja at all. It's actually a He-Man figure, one of the old He-Man, like 20, I don't know what it was, 1000X, 2000X, I don't know what the line was. It had X's and numbers in it, I think. But that head worked perfectly, or at least the eyes did. And then I had to shave down the face and sculpt the scarf there, and obviously the hair and the sideburns and everything. So I did that. I repainted it. There's a whole bunch of different shades of brown in the hair to make it look realistic. I actually made the front hair piece a separate piece so I could paint the face and everything real nice. Then I put that hair piece on last. And so that was that. The scarf is made out of a bendable ribbon, which other people have done. As you bend it, the little metal parts end up sticking out, so you can just nip those off with some scissors or some nail clippers or something, or just kind of tug on it and it'll cover up the metal. Nothing I can do about that, but that's okay because we needed the bendable scarf so that it holds its form. Obviously they can't put too thick of a wire in there, but it holds its shape pretty well, so if you want it to be blowing in the wind, you can do that. And so that's just wrapped around and tied off so that it can't come off or come undone. So that's that. The purple is dry brushed light purple over a dark purple. Didn't want to use black for that because dry brushing light colors over black doesn't really work unless it's gray or white, and even white's iffy because it just looks dirty and wrong. So I always try to use the same color, just a darker shade of it. Excuse me. So that's purple on purple there. He does have a little bit of black in there for his shirt, which is sculpted, and some wrinkles in there. Painted the emblem or kanji by hand on there. It's pretty accurate. I spend a lot of time on that trying to get it right. So I did that. What was I going to say next? Oh, the belts are just brown on black, because black works for brown. Dark brown is pretty much black if you go dark enough. I guess if you go dark enough, anything is black, but you get what I'm saying. It works for brown, it doesn't work for some other colors. This is dark red, dark red with lighter red, bright red, dry brushed over it. And then I went back over with like just a fine line of black just to give it the right shading that we wanted. The wrist things are gray with white dry brushed over them. I wanted those to look really dirty. Not dirty, but used, I guess. I didn't want them to look super clean. Not clean. What's the word? I don't know. New? Whatever. You probably get the idea. And if you don't, too bad. So, and I actually used a super flat white so that it feels like a different texture also. It's not the smoothness that his outfit is made out of. And that's the same thing for down here. Like I said, I sculpted the feet, put the little sandal things on there. That's all the same paintwork. The belt, let's talk about the belt. So the belt, I didn't know what I was going to do for the longest time. I found a G.I. Joe part that actually would have worked, but I had already done this. And what I did was I took two pieces of neoprene, two half circles basically, and glued them together, sculpted the belt one half at a time. There's a seam actually on either side, but you can't tell from the outside since there's seams everywhere. So I sculpted each half, and then I put it on, and then I glued it together. So it's a free-floating belt, fully sculpted, but it's not connected anywhere. The only way it's connected is by two magnets that I hid inside. There's a magnet on either side to hold it so that it hangs properly, on this side and on this side, as you saw. And then lastly, for the belt, there's a magnet on the back that holds the weapon, because what would one of my customs be without a magnet? Or lots of magnets. So there's a magnet up there, magnet here, magnet on the hips. The floating belt was really important, like I said, because you wanted posability, and there's no real good way to put that on there without it restricting the posability, without having it truly floating. So having it made in two parts, then connecting it once it was finished, was the only way to go, and I think it turned out really well. I'm happy with that. It's never going to get in the way of posing no matter what, and the magnets make sure it hangs properly instead of just falling down like this. I mean, which you can still do obviously if you want to, but why would you want to? You can just do that. So there's that. He has these two hands which are meant for holding his weapons. We'll get to that in a second. He also has two just plain old fist hands if my customer wants them. I don't know if he'll need them since those are basically fists anyways, but he has those. These are Fei Long hands with the Fei Long pegs. These are actually hand ninja hands because they had really good peg holes in them for holding the weapons. But I actually cut out the pegs that were on those and put in some Fei Long pegs, so the interchangeability is just as good as the soda figures, and that'll come in handy for the customer. So for the weapons, we have the two accessories. The one little hook thing, that's all fully sculpted. I lied. This part, the handle and this part are not sculpted. The rest is all sculpted. So that is, I'm not going to tell you how I did it because that would be giving away all of my secrets, and I can't do that. All I can tell you is it's fully sculpted and then painted with a combination of different metal paints to make it look like it's actually metal. So there's that, and like I said, that goes on his back up there. And then this one is, the blade part is fully sculpted, the back part is fully sculpted, and this middle part is from an accessory. Let me set Strider down for a second so I can talk to you. This middle part is from some dollar store thing, and this part is from some other piece. I sculpted that silver band. I wanted the handle to look like it was like beat up wooden, because in most of the artwork I saw for him, he had wooden handles on his weapons, so that's what that is. And then the rest, my customer said I could take a little liberty in how I made it, so I just used a couple tweaks and made it how I thought looked cool. And he wanted red in the middle instead of orange, so I did that, and I put a magnet in it so that he could hold it on his back. And like I said before, that goes on there just like that, and it hangs just the way it's supposed to. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I can't think of too much else to talk about for Strider. A lot of work went into this guy, but I think it paid off, and I'm pretty sure my customer is going to be happy with it. So let's put his gear on him really quick, just for a quick pose. When I set him down, he fell, so he got some dust on him, but I think we can go ahead and just put him in a pose anyway before we wrap up the video. So we have the hook in one hand, which I don't think he ever actually dual wields his weapons like this, but we're going to do it anyway. Just a quick little pose, because why not? So there we go. There is Strider HIRYU, my custom. Way too much work for what I thought it was going to be, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, go ahead, let me know. I'll just delete your comment. No, I'm just kidding. I won't delete your comment, unless you're a jerk about it. But either way, sorry guys, there he is. I'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.